must have been around 4 or 5 when I first witnessed true villainy. It was when Scar killed his brother Mufasa. But even then, all my feeble mind could wonder was, can this evil lion ever find it in his heart to be good? Or is it just 16 years down the line, you know what I think? When we hear about villains, all that comes to mind is this great icon of evil. But even in this evil, most still believe that somewhere within that cold heart lies a spark of goodness. We exercise the most hope for change when it comes to people. We want them to turn into these versions that fit in with society and individualistic codes. Even villains are not left out of this bubble of expectation. We know that villains are meant to be evil, there's no taking that from them. But there is a deeper manifestation of evil in some villains that make you go, Scheiße, das ist schlimmer als der Teufel. Consider Big Jack Horner from The Last Wish. Big Jack isn't evil because of some tragic backstory or because he has a Machiavellian purpose driving him to be evil. He is simply evil because he is. If you've been following my content for some time now, you see I like to analyze the 7 deadly sins that characters embody. So trust me when I say, Big Jack is the very embodiment of every deadly sin. We see a particularly twisted form of evil in his disregard for human life, more specifically the life of his henchmen.
You know, I'm starting to think you don't appreciate the value of a life.
What? No. I mean, I love these guys.
Knowing how evil Big Jack Horner is, would it be right to deem him too far gone? While searching for answers outside the ones in my head, I stumbled on this article, What Exactly is Irredeemable Anyway? And something writer Bridget Jandovic said really stood out to me. The only thing that can make a character irredeemable in any sense is them being unwilling to be redeemed. What decides if a character is redeemable is the character themselves, not the evilness of their past actions. It's obvious that Jack knows exactly who he is and has embraced it. He's totally chill with killing and his actions are driven by a motive that's steeped in greed and selfishness.
You're horrible. You're an irredeemable monster.
What took you so long, idiot?
Jack cannot fathom what it means to not be evil, and it piques an unsettling curiosity. Is this the peak of being beyond redemption? Perhaps if we take a peek into the mind of Anton Chigurh, we might find answers and a truth that is shocking but freeing.
Would you hold still, please?
Poker face, bad haircut, a gravelly voice. These are the least of the creepy qualities that make Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men a top tier villain in cinema. The things that make Anton dreadful span from his expressionless face to his depraved motives. Anton definitely exists in the realms of psychopathy. This alone is scary, but there is something methodological, something calculative about the murders he commits that makes him what the peak of being beyond redemption is all about. Our first indication of Anton's depravity is the chilling police station scene. He is arrested for obvious reasons, and while at the station, he proceeds to strangle a cop with his handcuffs. Just take a look at that sigh. It's almost as if he gets a certain high off his victim's last breath. This says a lot about what goes on in his mind. We're looking at a man who considers people pawns to be discarded if he so desires. We're looking at a killer who totally embraced the darkness. Anton doesn't seem to have any concrete motives, well, apart from the thick wads of cash that he's after. But when we look closer, a pattern starts to form, one that's ingrained in his perceptions of morality and anomaly. He has an idea of what right should be, and anything or anyone who exists outside of this boundary is a bull's eye. This we see with the farmer, the shopkeeper, and Moss's wife. His scene with the shopkeeper is really something to reflect on.
Is something wrong? With what? With anything.
Is that what you're asking me? Is there something wrong with anything?
It's one thing to kill someone, and it's another to think of killing so trivial that you decide one's fate with a coin toss.
Call it. All right. Heads then.
Well done.
To him, everyone is a pawn who can be executed in a particularly interesting way. Anton's use of unconventional elimination techniques make him more interesting in a sinister way. We have handcuffs, a gas tank, and a peculiar looking shotgun. What makes Anton Chigurh truly chilling is his consistency in the ways of evil. He has multiple chances to walk away, to let someone go, or to change his course, to seek redemption, but he never does. So to answer the question I posed earlier, Jack Horner is not the peak of being beyond redemption, because while Jack Horner cannot fathom what it means to not be evil, Anton can, and he embraces evil so tenderly, he becomes it. Judging from the activities in the movie, there is no possibility of change or redemption. He's gone beyond the point where typical human motivations apply, embracing a worldview where life and death are merely outcomes of a coin toss. A person becoming evil because he wants to does not compare to a person who chooses it regardless of what he knows. It won't make one funny and the other verdammt feuchterregend. Still, Anton Chigurh is not the peak of being beyond redemption. Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars, or Darth Sidious if you prefer, is the perfect depiction of one who is the very force of darkness. But how well does he qualify to be too far gone? Apart from shooting lightning bolts from his hands and utterly destroying many lives, Darth Sidious has a knack for manipulation, imposing his will on many who he deems useful for the time being and doing other evil stuff that will make Anton Chigurh look like a good guy.
Execute Order 66.
Yes, my lord.
According to most Star Wars lore, the most evil thing he did was orchestrating Order 66, which led to the near-complete extermination of the Jedi Order by the clone troopers they were fighting alongside, essentially turning the galaxy's protectors against them and plunging the galaxy into a tyrannical empire under its rule. Palpatine's beginnings are a grey zone. He starts as an influential politician who is two-faced, being the nation's upright senator in the eyes of the citizens, while operating as a power-hungry man in the shadows, clawing his way into higher positions of power. We find that his political career was never about service. Like I said earlier, his actions materialize from a deep-seated motivation to acquire and control, to be in charge. Unlike Chigurh, Palpatine's evil is not cold, detached or spontaneous. It's fiery, driven by ambition and steeped in darkness. Darth Sidious executes his greatest acts of evil by doing what many villains wouldn't be able to, exercising patience. He doesn't rush into actions and his plans are designed to unfold over years. He plays the long game, waiting for the perfect moment to strike and never letting his ambitions become too obvious. He understands that a slow, steady rise to power is far more effective than any reckless grab for control. It is this strategy that makes his evil nature go seemingly unnoticed. He is a man with the goal of having everything subsumed in his wishes, and he won't allow something strange like being good hinder his chances. As a matter of fact, his disregard for life is beyond disturbing.
Kill him. Kill him now.
For Darth Sidious, the question of being too far gone shouldn't be a question. This is a solid contender for the peak of being beyond redemption. Perhaps I've strayed too far in my quest to solve the paradox of redemption. Maybe there is no solving the paradox. Maybe I need more time to solve it. Maybe I should hold off for 3 months before I drop this video. Or maybe, on my 1-year-long quest to answer the question that disturbed my childhood, I found
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
Alonzo Harris from Training Day actually starts out with honorable motives. He has a desire to do good and keep narcotics off the streets of LA. You could even say he was a good guy, but not for long. Alonzo works as a cop with the LA police. He deals specifically in pharmaceuticals, if you know what I mean. He's basically your everyday guy who discovers a sniff of power and decides to go on a craze spree. He gets into all the shady stuff that cops get into in 80s America. Gets into bribes, drugs, Russians. He's proud, cocky, selfish, and of course, he thinks of himself as some sort of highway executioner.
You motherfuckers will be playing basketball in Pelican Bay when I get finished with you.
We do not need to look too far to find the catalyst for his transformation into villainy. It's power, and even better, it's finding a loophole through which he can abuse that power without getting caught. His justification for being the bad guy is actually justifiable. You see, Alonzo is all about survival and saving your own hide. It's selfish, yes, but plausible. He believes in the dangerous nature of the streets and doesn't hesitate to relay this reality to the rookie Jake Hoyt.
LAPD spokesperson said the officer is survived by his wife and infant child. Shit gets deeper. You get the picture.
Within his motives, he shows a special brand of evil by putting people in the way of danger. To Alonzo, morality is a weakness. Rules are just obstacles. He believes that to truly control the streets, he has to act outside the law. One of the clearest signs of Alonzo's ruthlessness is when he sets up the murder of a former cop and informant, Roger, just to cover his own debts to the Russian mob. Alonzo not only betrays someone who trusted him, but also forces Jake to participate, making him complicit.
It can't be like this.
It is this way, man. I'm sorry I exposed you to it, but it is. It's ugly, but it's necessary.
For Alonzo, loyalty and trust are a currency he's willing to trade and destroy when they are no longer useful. Perhaps what makes him too far gone is his arrogance, his belief that he's untouchable. Throughout the film, he operates under this assumption that he's above any consequence, relying on fear, manipulation, and his connections to dodge every threat. Alonzo's biggest mistake is underestimating everyone around him, thinking he can push, twist, and corrupt anyone without ever facing the consequences himself. He gets so blinded by power that he's unable to recognize the walls closing in on him, and in the end, he gets annihilated before discovering a shot at redemption. So what then do we say about the villain, who understood the extremities of being beyond salvation but embraced darkness anyway? This is the story of Yagami Light from Death Note. It begins with the seemingly noble goal to rid the world of criminals and create this dream haven where only the righteous survive. Light finds the Death Note, a book that gives his wielder the power to kill off anyone. Yagami finds this out and gets set to achieving his dream of ridding the world of criminals. It's a noble thing, trying to make the world safer, but this method is what turns him into anime's most dreadful serial killer. His motivation starts as a reaction to the world's injustice, and for a while, it seems like Light genuinely believes he is doing good. This is where the first fault sets in, the blurred lines and the subjective nature of the word righteous.
I want the world to know of my existence, that there's someone out there passing righteous judgment on the wicked. And I will become the god of this new world.
Soon, Yagami's motives change. He aims to become what he calls the god of the new world. This new world where criminals, dishonest people, and even lazy people do not exist. Yagami becomes a serial killer with a thirst for the blood of the innocent, the prime example being this poor woman and Detective L. When Yagami finally puts L in the grave, we at last see the full-blown evil that he is become.
I am the god of the new world.
Yagami had a chance and the power to do right from the beginning. He could have said no to the book, he could have refused to kill, but he didn't. So to a villain who understood the extremities of being beyond salvation but embraced darkness anyway, I think it's right to say redemption is still possible. He embraced the darkness and showed no sign of resistance, but there was always hope for redemption if he simply reached out to it, and I would have still loved him for it. I must have been around 4 or 5 when I first witnessed true villainy. It was when Scar killed his brother Mufasa. But even then, all my feeble mind could wonder was, can this evil lion ever find it in his heart to be good, or is it just too far gone? 16 years down the line, you know what I think? What makes a villain too far gone is the fact that we, the world, don't want to see them redeemed. We reach a breaking point with the character and are no longer interested in any outcomes for that character other than death, failure, or punishment, or in my case, acceptance. For Scar, I thought what he did was very horrible and I didn't want to see him get redeemed. So even while I wondered if he could ever find it in his heart to be good, I wanted him to face the consequences of what he did.
Simba, please have mercy, I beg you.
You don't deserve to live.
For redemption to work, there are factors that come into play. The first is reason. Why? Why would the villain want redemption? Do they want forgiveness, to save someone dear to them, or just to escape consequences?
Simba, please have mercy, I beg you.
Scar wanted Simba's forgiveness in the end because he wanted to escape the consequences. And this is where the second factor comes into play, acknowledgement. Whose eyes are the villains seeking redemption in? Who do they want to see this redemption? Redemption means nothing if no one knows of it. Persistence. How far is the villain willing to go for redemption? What price will they pay for it? What punishment will they endure for it?
Run. Run away, Scar, and never return.
That's where Scar messed up.
As you wish, Your Majesty.
And now I have my answer. This evil lion could never find it in his heart to be good, even if Mufasa came back from the dead to haunt him. In the end, this production goes beyond solving the paradox of redemption and answering the question of villains being beyond redemption to make you reflect on the darkness within you. In real life, the case of redemption is not that different from fiction because no matter how evil these characters were, no matter how too far gone they were, they all started out with a bit of humanity in them. And if there was, then even you can be too far gone.